there.
Welcome. Doot-de-doot.
I was trying to set up a space on X. Welcome to another exciting episode of How Did You Get There with your hosts, Stephen and Jeffrey.
Hi. I'll let you set that up and I will give the rest of the intro.
Very good.
This is a show, How Did You Get There is a show about thoughts, ideas, opinions, and beliefs. And where we will discuss those things and be critical of them, but not necessarily critical of the people who hold those thoughts, ideas, opinions, and beliefs. Although we may be a little bit critical today, those criticisms come from us, not Jess, JessTV, JessFM, Jess, anything, nobody named Jess maybe. Certainly nobody on this station or anywhere else in the world probably holds the opinions like we do. We might not even hold these opinions. We're just holding them for the duration of the hour so that we can try and fairly discuss topics of interest to us. And maybe you.
The opinions we're expressing are our opinions, nobody else's opinions.
I said that one.
Cool.
Yeah.
And we're not using that as a scapegoat. Like when I say, in my opinion, this, it's not because I lack the evidence or support for my argument. It's just that is my opinion, but do be critical of it.
Yeah.
Others use it as a deflector. Oh, don't criticize me. It's just my opinion. No, we're the opposite.
That's the whole point. The whole point of having opinions is that is a statement of your belief. I mean, I suppose if you opine something, it's just your words and feelings.
True. If I quote tweet something, it may not be my opinion, but I might have put it out there for others' consideration.
Opine. Hold and state as one's opinion.
Oh, well done.
Opinion. Nope.
Something one might opine. So definitions are often tautological. I love that about them.
A view or judgment formed about something, not necessarily based on fact or knowledge.
Cool. I would not based on knowledge.
Not necessarily.
I know. I was just trying to come up with like.
So belief in God is an opinion?
True.
Because it is not necessarily based on fact and knowledge, but it might be.
It might be. Okay.
Right?
Okay.
You can have an opinion that God exists. You can have an opinion that God does not exist. This has no bearing on the truthiness of the statement, God exists.
I was having fun with amounts of truth, or are things entirely true or entirely false? With just on my internet fun, 1 + 1 = 2, true or false. My response was it was irrelevant to the task at hand, and anyway, one of those things where I dug one hole, and then right where that other one ended, I dug an identical hole.
How many holes do you have?
How many holes are there?
If I have a straw...
Was it a plastic straw?
I have a plastic straw, really, really, really long plastic straw, and I seal off one end of it. Do I have a really, really, really tall plastic cup now?
Yes. Yes. Is it true that is a cup?
If I cut the bottom out of a red Solo cup, do I have a really wide straw?
Yes. That is true. It is either true or false. Only. I know. I'm having. I know.
Yeah.
It is black or white. Gray does not exist. So
it
speaking
doesn't matter
of which,
if you're black or white.
That is true.
Because he's dead.
He's.
Oh, right. I forgot about this. Yeah. I didn't really forget, but you know what I mean.
I do know what you mean. I was gonna. So people in our lives recently have passed away. We deal with it differently than most. So
it usually starts out with, well, shit.
Yeah, crappy. I think it was the last one, but.
Yep.
So just a quick hello to the
in
people.
Memoriam?
In memoriam to the people that are watching us, but also feeling the loss with us.
Yes.
There we are.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. If you don't, see me in public. I'm a human being. We'll talk about it.
When did you become a human being?
Well, the surgery was a success.
You must have gotten it as an adult.
Yes. Thank you. I thought I could tie this in somehow.
Because, of course, you know.
Well, only adults can make adult choices for adults. And also for the kids they gave birth to. Own. I'm going to go with own in terms of government law right now.
Well, the moment that it does seem that way, have care and keeping, children of which they have care and keeping.
Yes, they children for which they are responsible.
Ooh.
I know.
Sorry, I didn't mean to sound like a horse there.
Nay, it's not
Nay,
a problem.
I say. Nay.
Sorry, but like some of the things that one might consider when we're making plan and policy. So
we shouldn't let children make decisions that affect children.
Right. So this is one of those times that I think we could have maybe had Megan just sit there and then we could just do a video breakdown of the speech.
Yeah.
Because there was so much in a speech the other day from our premier.
Sorry, was that the speech or was that the 7-minute social media post?
Okay, 7-minute social media post. I was being courteous and suggesting that all Albertans had access to this post.
Yeah, I'm guessing they didn't.
I'm guessing not because some are.
I mean, there are internet
workarounds.
access at public libraries.
But I think X wants you to have an account before you can watch things on X.
There's also on Facebook. Oh, but Facebook wants you to have an account before you can have Facebook. So really, it's driving.
So if you're one of the poors, sorry, you don't know what's going on in our province.
Of course, you're watching this on Facebook.
Yeah.
So
No, this you can watch on YouTube and it's free. You don't have to be a member.
Oh, true. Now you do have to give up. You do have to give up a little bit of your information, but not much.
Peanut butter goodness.
Peanut butter brownies.
Just gonna tie out for a minute. Yesterday was waffle ice cream day. The chocolate peanut butter dairy-free gelato that I chose. Freaking awesome. Awesome. It matches the caliber of the ice creams they serve there.
Nice.
I am unsurprised because I've had them on the show. It just fabulous, and it has this depth of peanut butter chocolate. You're like, that is peanut butter. Wow, it's very good. Oh look who just came on just in time. I'm just bragging you up over there, buddy. Just bragging you up. I was bragging up waffle and ice cream.
Yeah.
I don't know how to let you talk if you ever want to, just so you know.
Yeah, so I kind of get the notion. Let me try and see if I can find the strong side of the notion.
If we can,
children not making terrible decisions and not allowing children to make terrible decisions. Suppose I'm going to try to come up with the best case for that.
I will attempt to assist you. Yes. Children lack experience with long-term problems.
Yes, because they don't have a long term.
Correct.
For starters.
Yes, so they might not be able to...
So long-term problems for a 2-year-old are things that last more than a couple of minutes.
Yes.
Long-term problems for an 8-year-old are things that last more than a day.
I'm even thinking, like, for an 8-year-old, like, I can hardly wait till my birthday. I can hardly wait
like
until
a year.
Christmas.
Let's say
a year is a
let's
big
say
time.
A year
is a
when you're 8,
long time.
1/8 of your life when you're 8.
It's a lot of time.
Is a lot of time. 1/8 of your life when you're 80 is 10 years.
Yeah.
That's a lot of time.
It's an immense amount of time to that 8-year-old.
Yeah. Now our brains actually, I think, are good at pattern finding. So I think there is a semi-logarithmic growth in how long is long enough. Right. So yes, an 8-year-old goes, it's a year. But a 12-year-old is not 1.2 years.
No.
A 12-year-old, it might be 2 years. I don't know what the actual numbers are.
And individual basis, blah.
Yeah. Your results may vary on average.
That fifth dentist is never going to recommend Trident.
See your dealer for details.
That's right.
I don't know why he knows, or what he's selling this week, because just about everything's legal now.
That's what I go to for deals.
Right. So let's say let's say a 14-year-old who has experienced bodily changes because of hormones,
They do.
but has also experienced love.
They have parents.
They have parents. They have maybe siblings that don't hate them or
Maybe
don't actively beat them up every day.
lucked into a friend at an early age.
Good friends,
I did.
all that sort of good stuff. That's that's all kinds of two kinds of love,
Yes. Yes.
right? And maybe because humans and hormones, maybe you at 14 also bumped into the other kind of love,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a thing, but you don't have a lot of experience with that. So, but you have a lot of experience with being you. Like you've had like a
You
lifetime.
have the most experience at being.
I
you,
have
but-
the least experience of being you.
True.
You have the most experience about being you.
You have more experience about being me than most.
Yes.
I'm just saying. There are
Sure.
people with less. Just
Yeah.
to stick to the.
Um,
So I mean, I'm just
So
trying. I'm
somewhere-
trying to build
so
that
somewhere
up.
in
That
here there's-
a parent might secondarily know their child best. Like, so apart from the
Yes.
child knowing itself best, odds are those that care about the child know that child well. Not completely, not entirely, but well.
and I believe that parents have a responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Parents / caregivers / foster parents /
Guardians of children.
guardians,
Be it
all of those people have a responsibility for the well-being, the complete well-being of those minors. Why I have probably a topic for a whole other day. What's the magic that happens between 17 and 364 days and
Mm-hmm.
18? I'm not certain what happens between in that one
I
day.
think it's just one of those things where
Gotta draw a line somewhere.
gotta draw a line somewhere.
Yeah.
It is going to be arbitrary, but it could be defendable.
Making a mess. Sorry.
Sorry, Jess.
I'll clean up.
Uh,
So we have to draw a line somewhere. Sure. Okay. And I think that kids need to be protected from dumb things. First level of protection, education.
That's a really good way to prevent bad choices, is to give all of the choices available the best information they can come with.
Yeah. So do you think that children should be juggling chainsaws?
I mean, 17, no, but 18.
Do you
In
think
general, no. I don't believe that people that are
14-year-olds probably should not be juggling chainsaws. They should not be choosing on their own to go juggling chainsaws because they don't have the experience, by and large.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's one who's been juggling since they were 3, but then I don't know how they would have known how to safely juggle chainsaws without having learned something about chainsaws
or juggling.
or juggling.
There would need to be a precondition of knowledge to some of it. The danger.
I hope they're not teaching that in schools.
I know. It's the same with, I know that some of this is to not promote sexuality in the system.
Oh, I would hate to have a sexual system.
Yes. But if we teach the kids about sex, then they're going to know about it and then they're going to have it.
If we plant a tree that bears fruit of the knowledge of good and evil, and we say, don't touch this, what are they going to do?
Well, first, if they don't have the prior knowledge because they haven't eaten that fruit, they would not know that it is bad to not eat the fruit or to eat the fruit.
But won't they be curious because they've been told, don't eat this?
They would only be curious and not understand that there would be consequences to it, even.
Or even understand what the consequences are because they have not got the education.
Correct.
Yeah, so let's say that the first line of defense should be providing all the education.
Yes. For my youth to make good choices, the better informed they are, the better choice they could make.
Yes. Now, there is, in development, stages at which you have forward planning, good recall, practice with decision making, especially under pressure. Right? There's lots of things that happen in development.
Reckoning of abstract concepts.
Right. So I don't think that asking a 3-year-old if they would like to juggle chainsaws and teaching them about the dangers and joys of juggling chainsaws is practical.
For example, you might describe how the chainsaw might remove the 3-year-old's hand, but they, not having the experience and also never having lost a hand before, don't believe it could happen to them, are willing to try anyway.
Or assume that it'll grow back.
Yeah.
Or
any of
something,
the other...
Because when you cut off their hair, it grows back.
Yeah, cut your fingernails, it grows back.
Yep. So, and I know my big brother's teeth came out and they came back.
Yeah, right? Their experience, although limited, is definitely not well informed and may give them the wrong idea about the activity.
Yeah. So I think we could fairly say that there are good circumstances to not teach all the things. Have you seen the videos that were going around? Like, explain gravity to a 5-year-old, to a high school student.
I have not.
To an adult, to someone with a bachelor's degree, and to somebody with a PhD. And it's like, explain X, like, and they get like somebody who's an expert in the subject explain gravity to a 5-year-old. And you don't tell everything about gravity. You don't give out the equations. You don't talk about relativity and those sorts of things. But as you have greater world knowledge, you can learn more and more about a thing. I'm not going to teach a 5-year-old directly all the things about firearm safety. I'm going to teach, don't touch this. There are big dangers and you will be in trouble. When we have a safe place, we can talk about this more. Yes. I'm dodging the big one. That's topic of conversation.
I think I can get there though. I was raised in a way where being informed that I was young and inexperienced was not perceived as a criticism, but as a reason not to nail myself to a position. For example, I might have come out and said, I'm heterosexual as a 12-year-old. To which my mother might have responded, you might not wish to make that announcement yet. And it's not because being hetero was right or wrong. It just might not be.
You might not know.
You
might not have all the facts yet.
I might not have all the facts yet.
And we'd hate to just like leap into things without all the facts or any. Then it's just an opinion.
But I think for real though, that's how I view all of these less than 18-year-old situations. Just for now, if we're gonna stick with the topic, the less than 18-year-olds.
Yeah, it's a different topic for a different day.
No, we can cut that one into the last 20 minutes today. I swear. Because the age of things matters. It's a weird thing to me that. Well, we'll get back to it. So anyway,
I surprised somebody the other day by saying that I was mostly heterosexual.
Yeah,
and they looked at me. I went,
have they not seen Dweezil Zappa? Dude is hot.
What do you mean? Yeah, exactly. What do you mean mostly? Well, it's a spectrum, right? And the person I was speaking with had to have known. Like, there is no way this person did not know.
That there was a spectrum, or that you would
that
only
there
be
is
mostly...
That there is a spectrum.
Gotcha. They were just surprised that you felt you weren't at one end of it.
Well, I'm mostly at one end of it. But, I mean,
Have you not seen Dweezil Zappa? Dude is
hot dudes,
hot.
Right?
And charming and talented.
Yeah.
Man crush. And I'm okay with that. Like,
It's-
I'm totally okay with
do the thing. It
My odds of making out with him or as anyone else famous I've had a crush on.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, whatever.
I'm not really interested either, but.
But it's not gonna. How did I get to that position of mostly instead of entirely, or entirely not? Because, well, unlike Boolean logic, there are spaces between all the way true and all the way false.
I mean,
In Boolean logic, there are two choices. It is all the way true, or it is all the way false.
they're
And Boole was just trying to prove that God existed by
fair enough.
statistics.
Yeah. That's why we use Bayesian,
Yep.
because then that's a probability thing rather than
Distribution.
yeah. It's like Rawlstian versus utilitarian.
Yes. Yes.
They kind of both want to accomplish helping everybody, but one actually seems useful. The other one is one I apply and poorly. You pick, because I'm a utilitarian.
Utility.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying with this issue that, like, if your child were to come to you and suggest something like, I'm gay, I feel like I'm a boy trapped in a girl's body, great. Explore that, discuss, get the information together to talk to.
Learn about all the things.
Learn as a team. Then there's no big, like, oh, gotcha moments, or did you know, blah, blah, blah. We don't need those. They are, I mean, they're fun in a recreational sense. They're not fun in a mental health sense. It's not, and that's the where I want to weave carefully. I don't believe someone's gender exploration is a mental illness. I know.
Weird.
I know.
Yeah. No.
But
I'm with you.
But mental illnesses are often described as thinking outside of the norm.
I think
There's a greater distinction,
Yeah.
but that's how they flop those two things into the same pot, right? So I don't like that. The reduction that comes of that is kids are dumb and shouldn't choose, and if they choose dumb things, we should punish them. And they're dumb because I don't like them. They make me feel icky.
Yeah.
Those kids didn't pick you as a parent. They for really didn't. They didn't pick to have parents or guardians, etc. But those kids are picking to trust you when they come to you with this. Don't let them down. Like, that is the time that you can make or break the relationship with your child. I did not have such an encounter with my children. None of my children have came to me, or they listened to me at the right ages and they just monkeyed around, did the things, and then made their announcements in their 20s.
They figured their stuff out.
And really,
Maybe.
because
And maybe
it's
they'll
not,
figure different stuff out later.
that's the thing too. It, like, why are people asking? Why does it matter?
So I came to a brilliant conclusion one day, and that's not that I ended,
No, okay, good.
of a train of thought.
I came to a conclusion.
I came to a conclusion, but not my own, that probably how someone identifies, how someone feels, how someone prefers is pretty much none of my business, except it may matter if I want to have one of those kinds of relationships with that person. Like, if
Oh yeah.
so, I might
like. I don't like. You might.
It's
be,
not my business, but
No.
if imagine that I were single and I wanted to get busy with person A.
Hey, person A.
Hey, person A. Do you have the bits that I find attractive? Do you do I have the bits that you find attractive?
Yep.
Okay, then we can move forward.
Yep.
And as long as we're on the same wavelength, that's the only time that I think that it matters.
And what's so crazy about that is you could have that entire conversation without talking about gender.
Yeah.
We could, and my preference would be, abolish gender. Then We got
Never
50.
mind the linguistic problems.
Yeah. But
We have a lot of language history to go with that.
like all of the Romance languages that are gendered just by nature of the language.
Yep. Because history.
Because history. But because I know and have fought many word changes in my life, I know it could happen again. We could change words. We could make the words mean different things.
Yep.
And for real, your sex does matter for medical treatment. Like, for real. It does.
Because endocrinology.
Endocrinology is kind of a thing. And just humans being individually different is kind of a thing.
In the best sense of everything, if we could get extremely rapid DNA sequencing and keep that relatively private, privacy, assuming appropriate privacies, and we advance medical knowledge, then again, your gender, your sex, and all of the other related things won't matter so much, because we can go, based on this piece of this DNA sequence, we know that these treatments for this ailment are the best.
Ooh, good one.
Right?
Yeah.
So like it's personalized treatment. Like I found out recently, Michael Cormican of Lethbridge, deceased, who had a GBM with giant brain tumor.
Yeah.
And was flying to, I think it was Ireland, a little fuzzy on which European country it was, where they would go and they would take his blood and they would spin out his white blood cells and they would reprogram them into a specifically targeting antivirus for his particular cancer in his brain, which extended his life tremendously. And quality of life.
That's like, I was like, if I recall, it wasn't at a cost of laying in a bed suffering.
Right. It was being able to do things.
Like fly to Ireland and get that done.
Yeah.
Typically,
frequently.
people with the big brain problems don't fly.
It was the size of a baseball.
Ew.
They removed it.
Yeah, but ew.
It was still growing, because it's one of these cancers that you can't. It's almost impossible to get it all.
If we remove the cancer, we would have removed the brain.
Yeah, you couldn't get all of it, but you could teach the body to fight it with your own blood goo.
Cool.
Right.
That's
I thought
cool.
it was very cool. There was a story on CBC, a doc on CBC that was about Michael Cormican from Lethbridge, Alberta. I'm like, I know that guy.
Yeah, wait.
Knew that guy. And then somebody else from somewhere else in I think it's in Alberta, somewhere else in Canada anyway, who's flying to Germany monthly for a similar treatment because it's not available in Canada. But it's targeted specifically to them. So we can get to a place where sex doesn't matter because it just matters about you.
Yep.
Right? Which
That
would
is
be
even
fine.
that's cool.
But we would have to learn about the differences between individuals.
Yes.
Accept that individuals with differences are still valuable.
We could take like a Da Vinci man-woman pictures and say, this is common, but it is not unique.
Yeah. If I ask you to sketch a table, how many legs will you put on it?
Probably 4.
Do all tables have 4 legs? No, they do not.
No, exactly. That's what I was like. Well, yeah. I mean, my brain drew it with perspective and the back leg.
Absolutely, it did.
Yep.
Right? But that's not all tables.
No, truly no. This one has 1.
Right. It's a pedestal.
It's a pedestal.
It's got 1 foot too.
Yeah.
Right, so it's
got
a monopod.
Foot, a monopod. You're halfway through. Fairly restrained episode of How Did You Get There with your host Stephen and Jeff, a show where we're critical of thoughts, ideas, opinions, and beliefs, but not necessarily the people that hold them. Today, we're dancing around the horribleness that is our premiere.
Oh, Marlena.
Someone pumped out on the tweets. Hope she's just hungover today from her celebration.
So the two MLAs from Medicine Hat held a town hall recently.
Did they?
Yes, and they asked that it not be filmed. But then they didn't have enough room in the venue at the Medicine Hat Public Library to accommodate everyone, so they did allow a community broadcaster to live stream it. So there is now a recording of all of this.
Beauty. I don't want to watch this, do I?
No.
It's a blood-boiling speech?
It's not a
For
speech.
those of us that love humans?
It was about all the things of importance to the constituency. Right? Sorry, constituencies. Because both...
There's two in Medicine
There's
Hat.
two of them. And the non-premier MLA, he's very much a parental rights person, whatever that means.
I don't know what it means.
He sort of dances around it a little bit. And the premier MLA once again reminded us that she has in her life a young person who is experiencing, who is going through transitions.
Yes. Yeah, is non-binary.
Yeah. So has a different opinion about parental rights than. And it was the most human thing I think I've heard our premier say about this since her very impassioned speech in 2014. I think it was 2014.
Maybe,
It's making the rounds on the
it's bad.
socials again. Yeah, where was the wailing and gnashing of teeth this time as opposed to last time? Anyway, there was a question come up about the Alberta pension plan and where's it at? And there wasn't enough time to get all the questions from all the audience, so that you had to send your questions in advance, and the director of the library or somebody, the moderator, summarized, and they weren't softball questions. They were good questions. And the question was about the Alberta pension
Was this
plan.
the meeting in which an upset citizen stormed out, talking about their 2 dead children?
Yes, that's the same one.
Very good.
Yeah, but that was the second outburst from the audience. The first one was regarding the pension plan. A somewhat older, doesn't really matter, older than me, possibly, but definitely angrier than me, maybe not.
More vocal at
that time than me. Said, yeah, we don't want this. The Canada pension plan works great. It's one of the best pension plans in the world.
It is kind of the standard of the world.
Why would you want to tear that apart? Why would you want to take that away? And got a bunch of applause and a bunch of boos and was asked to leave because there were ground rules for the thing. It's like, we don't want people booing and hissing. By the same token, we don't want people clapping and cheering.
So they cleared the house with that comment. Just the one guy.
So just
the one guy.
She was asked to leave politely, and she made a point. It's like, all of you, and she turned to the remainder of the audience behind her and said, "Don't let them do this." And then she left. And then sometime later, when it came up with the parental rights, dude stood up and said something. He said, "And I'm leaving."
Yeah.
Because he didn't have to be told he's going to have to leave.
Yeah.
I'm leaving. Because you didn't have to go to 2 funerals of kids who were not accepted.
Yeah. Yep. These are, so it's weird to me because many of these same people are against the MAID program, where we can actually assist those that can't help themselves with some dignity. But it feels like they're pushing suicide on kids that don't have opportunity.
Yeah, but not medically assisted.
No, just straight up dangerous, could just blow your eyeballs out instead of killing yourself, or jump off a building and just be paralyzed instead of dead.
Or take just enough drugs to make you incapacitated and not dead.
Yeah, exactly true. Exactly true. So I think, because I wanted to get back to this, there's got to be an age, though, at which we can apply equal amounts of responsibility. Now, I tend to think that driving 3,000 to 5,000 pounds of steel around is a fairly, advanced task that requires a lot of responsibility.
And I believe we have a system for licensing that.
We do.
Which involves education and testing.
Education's a big part of that, and in fact, a probationary period at the start of that, and at any time at which in your life you wish to engage in this danger task of driving, there's a 2-year probation until you're fully allowed to just be driving.
Cool.
Yeah. So 14 doesn't seem like the wrong age for that.
But it's not quite the right age.
It's not quite the right age. So let's just say 16 is a good age to just take off all of those safety restrictions, like must have the education, must do these things. You could just go in as a 16-year-old
and say, I believe that I can operate this
motor vehicle.
this moving rolling death trap.
It's weird though, because now I'm a 16-year-old behind the wheel, and I'm affected by all of the laws that govern this situation.
Yeah.
I have no say in how those laws are made.
Well, you would think that.
And then I also am paying taxes by fueling my vehicle, but I have no representation. I'm being taxed without representation.
I know that there's a certain contingent of people in Alberta who believe that that's bad. I mean, we're in a little far north and west of Boston, but I think I'd be a beer party.
Straw party. We'll take a straw poll. Anyway,
it's going to be this long,
and it's going to
single use.
Suck.
So much anti-gravity is required to do that. It's right. So they have a ton of responsibilities and fewer of the rights.
Yes, they have no ability to engage.
They have limited ability, and this is a thing that I found out because I went digging today. Did you know that our premier was effectively, although elected by the province, was selected as the leader of that party by a bunch of people that includes minors.
Wait.
So,
how can someone under the age of 18
make an informed decision?
Make an informed decision about the functioning. Well,
by parental rights. See, the parents tell them how to vote.
Yes.
So, which is why you want to have lots and lots of kids. You know, because we don't want people making choices that might make it so they don't have kids. Have lots and lots of kids so that you can, when they're 14, make them members of the UCP because you can pay for that for them, and then tell them how to vote.
You could get them a job as a paper boy so they could buy their own damn membership.
Oh, but the bylaws actually say you have to pay for it, or some immediate family member can pay for it. That's what we should get Dad for Christmas.
The UCP membership. So there was a plan afoot to like just take normal human beings and have more UCP members than say take back Alberta, and then change the leadership of the party.
Oh yeah,
I'm
vote
just
to
not
rescind half those terrible bylaws. Well, and all of the policy's awful. It's terrible to read. I don't know. I know why I read it because I should be informed, and they're really just digging in hard to do all the things. The priorities of this government really are the priorities of that party.
Yes, and I think that's my problem, is that I feel my government priority, the priority of my government should be the constituents, all of them, as best, right? I get that we can't please everybody at all times, but we can certainly minimize the damage to everybody at all times.
Do you think that communication would be a good place to start with that?
Communication would be second only to the education, because I don't actually need to have my government talking to me to know how government runs.
Yeah, imagine though that our MLAs are kind of like our conduit to government. So we could ask them questions. We could make demands if we wanted. And then upon making a demand or asking a question, get a response that says yup or nope. And if it's yup, that's great. And if it's nope, here's why.
Yeah. Or yup, and thank you for the comment.
Yup, and thank you for the comment.
Or mostly yes, but this is what we had to change, and why. There's a ton of good options other than ignorance.
Which is different from asking someone to justify two contradictory statements and explain which one they actually hold. And at 255 days and counting, still don't have an answer.
Nathan? Okay. So what I'm trying to nail down, what's a good age for all of these activities? I don't have the answer, but I'm trying to get there. I like 16 as a number for all of these things. Like, should be allowed to vote.
Yep.
Should be allowed to drive. Because I have this problem where I can join the army but can't drink or vote for the person that's going to send me to war. That one. So we have to at least make it 17 for vote? Because I can join the army at 17.
So how do the 16-year-olds who have secondary minimum wage jobs get to work?
Exactly. I mean, other than public transit or walking?
Which, if you live in a rural area, both of those are typically impractical. And by rural, I don't mean Tabor.
No. I know
by
what
rural,
you mean.
I mean actual rural.
Yeah.
But even...
Yeah, if I lived in Etna and my job is in Cardston, walking there ain't going to happen.
No.
No.
You hitch a ride?
Maybe. But not
You get
everybody...
mom and dad to drive you?
Maybe.
But, or if you're 16, maybe you could get the license, since you're doing a job that gives you income that at least potentially you pay tax on. You should have some kind of say in all of those things, including the fact that you shouldn't have a different minimum wage because you're 16 instead of 18, because the 18-year-old doing the exact same job gets paid more because they're 2 years older, not because they're better at the job.
No, because that 16-year-old becomes a 17-year-old, has a year's experience over the 18-year-old, and still earns less.
Because we care about our children. We care about their rights.
You only
But
have
we
to
just
do 12.
don't show it.
There are 13 states in which you only have to be 12 to work in a factory again.
Cool. That would be great for industry.
I mean, prison labor is still a thing in the States. It's quite rampant. Like most of your McDonald's beef, in case you care.
Do they get paid for it?
No sense if it's not, well, kind of, but they don't get like any of like worker rights. So like if they're injured or die, whatever, and literally cents on the hour.
Oh, because the difference actually is going to help pay for their own incarceration.
Yes, and some don't get paid anything. They just get to go work, and they could say no, but then there's extra penalties like you don't get parole now, or here's solitary confinement because you're being disagreeable, as opposed to being slave labor because you paid not enough parking or whatever. I don't.
So 16 seems to be good.
I think 16 is a fair age. I think we can cram a bunch of information into people before they're 16.
And we should.
Right. And it doesn't need to be read, wrote, repeat. Like, I think...
I'm a big fan of critical thinking.
We underestimate the 12 and up crowd. I'm guilty.
We underestimate the 6 and up crowd.
True enough. Although, in terms of abstract concepts and most of the mental knowledges I know, we really shouldn't be teaching kids math until they're like 7 or 8 years old. Like abstract. If they ask questions, you always answer. But in terms of trying to promote the instruction of the subject,
I mean,
kids just aren't all mentally equipped to deal with those concepts.
No, but you can teach them counting, which is math.
Which, yes, but I mean, like the abstracts, the placeholders, algebra. Like I remember algebra from grade 1. It just nobody told me it was that. It would say things like 1 plus question mark equals 3. What is the question mark?
Yep, that's algebra.
That's algebra,
which is fine.
Yep.
I mean, it's a counting problem.
Yep, for sure.
And I agree. There's levels, and I am not an expert in that level of education.
Yeah, no.
But there are people who are that, who were working on curriculum, who then got fired by the current government.
Well, because curricula costs money, and somebody in the States already made one, so we'll just use that.
But we already, I hate to call it sunk costs, but we already had a working group, a cross-partisan working group that included teachers and parents and government representatives from all sides, building a better curriculum for the entire province. It was actually started under a conservative government, and it was going quite well, thank you very much. But apparently,
What was it teaching that scared people? So that's how I view these things. When you're scared of education, you're the problem. That's how I view these things. Why can't my kid be well informed? Who are you to tell my kid what their brain can and cannot absorb?
oh, they're not.
They are.
No,
They're
no, no,
restricting
they're saying-
the access.
No, they're saying, we're not restricting the access. They can teach the stuff, but you have to you, the parent, specifically have to say, I want them to learn this thing. Every time. Because you have the right to control what your
There's
child...
a part of me that would care to audit this, in that if I hear anything about any kind of marriage, if I hear anything about any kind of relationship, like if someone teasingly down the hallway says, "Is that your girlfriend?" You're talking relationships. And we don't do that without parental authorization.
Yeah. So how did...
I'm just wondering.
Yeah, so what is the relationship that gives us royalty in Canada? Like, how do we end up with the particular royal line that we have today?
Well, we actually chose this particular royal line we have today because at the moment that the Queen died, Canada had an option
Yeah.
to select one.
Okay, let's go back. And how did she become the queen?
Oh yeah, she inherited that.
From
Her dad.
well, how come she has a father?
Oh, I'm thinking they did stuff, but I don't know for
But
sure.
you can't tell me about her father and her mother having a child.
No, God, no, because
Right.
because I haven't, as the parent, my parent didn't
My
sign
parent,
off.
My
on
parent
that.
didn't sign off on teaching me that dead people, when they were alive, had sex and made offspring.
I know.
Who became leaders.
Because I think if we look at the law, the proposed legislation, that it would prohibit such conversations. We could not talk about the story of Adam and Eve because boink boink is not to be discussed without prior parental approval. And then, if I'm a parent that thinks, no, they need to know about Adam and Eve, and I sign on, yes, they can learn about relationships, there should be no caveats. There should be, except gay ones. You can't. Like, you learn about relationships.
Oh, we get to learn about Adam and Steve as well.
Yes, absolutely should. If we're learning about relationships, we should learn about all the relationships. If we're learning about...
Even the platonic ones?
Yay! That's when Neptune... Nah, never mind. Plutonic. Being cheeky, a little cheeky. But
Yeah.
I think that's if I were an obstinate student.
Yep.
And I was and did.
And I was and I did.
If I were in that system now, that would be my approach. I'm sorry, you can't talk to me about that. My parent didn't sign. Like right away.
Yep.
How did that? Nope.
That would be
Shut
the-
up.
If I had kids in school, I would be teaching them civil disobedience in that particular form.
I do remember
It's like
my
but
daughter
be res-
having an English teacher, language arts teacher, that was using that opportunity to perhaps imply that things written in a diary in an attic in Holland weren't necessarily true. That it was just the rantings of an angsty teen.
Oof.
My child was sent back with some good information. I was returned an apology.
Yeah.
We're still on speaking terms, that teacher and I.
Yay!
Yay!
So we're getting close. There's like
Yeah.
9 minutes left.
I know that clock wrecks me.
I'm gonna fix it.
I'm just gonna stare at it until it fixes itself.
It's not gonna fix itself.
Oh. Ooh! That was dangerously close to bad joke. So, okay, I want to share my piece of humor with this whole situation.
Do the thing.
So, there were a couple announcements in the week, both of which put a smile on our premier's face. One, disavowing trans children, and two, promoting plastic straws. So I thought it was kind of weird to be against maybe bottom surgery, but be in favor of artificial straws. Anyway,
Yeah.
that was a thing.
Yeah, well,
that was a thing.
and that's what led me to think about turning a straw into a cup.
Yes, absolutely. 1 cup. Please don't comment, like, or subscribe.
Yeah, no, do not. So one of the things that was
Not based on that anyway.
one of the gems that was buried in the 7-minute social media post that masquerading as a government announcement was
there a Amslan?
I doubt it.
So then it's not official. Cool.
So no Aslan? Okay.
He'll be back.
Crack the table. Crack the table. Lucy! I love Turkish Delight.
I love Turkish Delight.
Where was I going? Oh yeah, sports. Oh, the sports, because
That's another
this
thing
is
our
the
premier
other
loves.
part. That's the other part of this is not only are we not going to teach our children about seemingly anything now, we're also not going to let people who have transitioned from nominally male to nominally female will not be permitted to participate in female sports.
So again,
But not the other way. If you transition from female to male,
well, that's okay.
You can-
because
you can
You're
participate in male
expected to
sports.
lose anyway because you're just a woman.
yeah, and I am reminded of my junior high school years when I'm going to name names because Joanne Monfy was great. Played on the Hamilton football team after much fighting, and was one of the best players in that junior high school league at the time because she was good at playing the football, and it had nothing to do with the fact that she was born or considered herself to be a girl type person. She was a good football player, and so we all rallied and went, yeah, she can play football, and they eventually went, yep, I guess she can play football.
There are some sports that use both. We'll pick roller derby. This is not a gentle sport,
Oh no.
Nope.
No.
but it's a co-ed sport. So I don't think necessarily gender matters that much, does it?
No.
No.
Well,
I think performance fairness, right? So like again, my favorite example is if we can prove that 80-year-old men run the same speed as 10-year-old boys, give or take. So we then set up a race with 10-year-olds and 80-year-olds. How meaningful is this race to everybody? Like, woo, Grandpa beat the kids. Oh, the kids beat Grandpa this year. Like,
I think that's
it's
great.
It's a totally fair race. And it'd be entertaining. But meaningful? Like, is it going to be at the Olympics? Right? Do we need a protected category for under 10s and over 80s sprinting?
Do we need the Olympics?
That separate issue, because I have this whole big issue with the whole thing in sports. Like, do we need that? No, we don't need professional sports. We like them. They're fun. They entertain us.
Yeah, I like
bread at my circus too.
I like watching the sports. I might even pay some money to watch the sports. I don't think it should be protected, but I think if enough people wanted to watch the sports, and they're willing to pay to watch the sports, and the players do the sports as a job. Ta-da! Professional sports. Whatever. Do the thing.
Do the thing. I mean, it's not just me being offended at the outrageous sums of some professional sports. Like, I would love it if the decathletes made, say, baseball money.
That'd be
Or
cool.
the other way around actually would be way better. But
Yeah. Yeah, I struggle with.
but decathletes don't put butts in seats like baseball players do.
No, and I don't understand why. Because it's much more interesting. So I participate in dragon boating.
Yeah,
as have you.
yeah.
It comes in categories. There's men's, there's women's.
Rarely is there men's. Men's
Well,
suck.
internationally.
Internationally, sure, but men's in Canada?
Well, I think we have a couple of teams, but not so many.
Women's
for
teams?
Gobs of them, and mixed teams.
A good handful of mixed teams.
There is actually-
that's
And the
where I
rules
play.
the rules for mixed are you cannot have fewer than 8 men. You may not have fewer than 8 women.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so you can't stack it
Oh
one
my
way or the
God!
other.
I'm trying to put a 22 boat rig together.
Yeah,
That's 20 and
20, and
ends.
the ends don't count for
counts.
for gender counts.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's of the 20, it's
No
minimum no less than 8 of one or the other.
Cool.
Right, and I am pretty certain that I have encountered women's teams that would kick the ass of our mixed team.
Yeah.
Why? Because those women train and they're really damn good at their sport, and we drink.
Yeah, you guys are
Our-
a drinking team with a dragon boat problem.
Okay, team. Okay, insert team name here. Time to warm up. That means put your drinks down, kids.
Yeah.
Only once.
Only one.
We were on the beach at Kelowna. I was like, "You're up." Oh, okay. Put your drinks down. Run across the sand. Get in the boat. Go win the race. Come back. Pick up our rum again.
Because you're all relaxed at that point of the race.
Right. But it's not about. It
Happily
doesn't
penny.
matter. It doesn't matter about your X, Y, Z's, all your extra X's or your extra Y's or whatever it is you've got. It matters. Are you competent at your sport? Do you belong in the right division? In boxing, they have like a weight class.
Are they body shaming?
Yeah.
Is that what it's about? It's about body shaming.
I don't know because
Those
when
super
they
heavyweight guys are kind of super heavyweight.
in MMA, they actually drop trowel when they do their weigh-in
Some do because they're
because
that
they
close
need
to
that
weight.
they need that extra ounce.
Yeah.
Yeah, sumo.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually never met a sumo wrestler.
I have met sumo wrestlers. I have been introduced. I'm not like on speaking terms. It was this god big sweaty hand that like grabbed me there and went hello. That was that.
Yeah, I've never, but I don't know of any small ones.
No, yeah, I've seen the lightweight category, and they kind of look funny, but they are not ill-equipped
But
to
where
deal
would
with
we
the
learn-
heavyweight category.
Where would our children ever learn about this? I mean, maybe they'll send home a permission sheet that says,
Can I see
"Can I
men
learn
in
about
underwear?"
sumo?"
Yeah.
Because that's men in underwear, and that might turn on my children.
That's right. I know I was worried about that. I sent my kid out into the park, and I think he caught a case of the gay, but it's okay. He got over it.
That's okay. Once you finish drinking them, you could return them for a refund.
Yes.
Like a whole case
The
of them?
empties. I have a bunch of empty gay to give back.
I'm so sorry.
It sounds that ridiculous in my head world when people are like, "Oh, my kid went to this and now he's going to be..." No, your kid was like already thinking about it if that's what happened. And also maybe support your kid if that's the choice he's going to make.
Open up good lines of conversation. That is the best thing you can do.
Don't want your kid to be sad? Be like a mentor, not an enforcer.
Or a friend.
Friend is okay.
You can be friendly,
You definitely be friendly to your kids, and
your kids shouldn't be your buddy.
there it is. That's what I told my
Not at least
kids.
until they're adults.
I will absolutely act really friendly towards you, but as far as me being legally responsible for you, I'm your parent, not your buddy.
And we didn't have to have any legislation for that to happen.
None, zero. It's so weird that I didn't go to jail. All right.
So it looks like we're at the end of our time, folks.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for tuning in.
Appreciate it there down at Cookie Crimes. Thank you for bearing with us.
We appreciate everybody who tunes in, and to keep tuning in. In a fortnight, we'll be back, and tune in to Jess all week long for the amazing stuff that goes on the air.
Hit us up on our playlist on YouTube in case you've missed a previous episode.